Hello everyone and welcome to today's class, and today's title is Home on the Rails. Let's move on to language focus. 1번. It reduces the risk of not getting a place on the overnight trains. Okay, so as you can see, here I've highlighted risk of not, but we're just going to concentrate on risk of. So we use risk of with a gerund to describe the possibility that something unwanted will happen. So risk of plus 동명사는 원치 않은 일이 일어날 수 있는 상황 or 할일을 얘기할 쓰는다. Alright, so if we have a look at our first example, wearing a seatbelt lowers the risk of getting injured if you crash your car, So wearing a seatbelt lowers the risk of plus gerund 동명사 getting injured if you crash your car. So, 안전띠는 차 사고가 났을 때 부상을 당하는 것을 줄여준다. So, a risk is like the danger, right? So, wearing a seatbelt decreases the danger of getting injured or the risk if you are in a car crash. Okay, moving on to the next one. Don't buy stocks if you cannot bear the risk of losing money. So bear is not the 명사, the 곰이, bear we're talking about. 곰. So we're talking about obviously similar to like 참다, 견디다, like I think it's more 참다, to be honest with you, like to endure another risk. Like, to bear is to endure. Okay, so we're talking about stocks, right? So 손실을 감당할 수 없으면 주식에 투자하지 마라. So if you cannot bear the risk of losing money, don't invest in stocks, which is why I don't invest in stocks, because I cannot bear losing money. Okay, moving on to 2번 now. Because first class is seldom fully booked. Okay, let me just highlight seldom here. Because first class is seldom fully booked. Okay, so use seldom to express that something does not happen often. So what are some other words when we use the word seldom to describe not happening often? Sometimes. Every so often. Sometimes every so often. This is not often. Often is 자주. Every so often is usually sometimes. From time to time. These are other expressions to use for seldom. So yes, seldom은 무엇을 거의 하지 않을 때 쓰는 부사다. So another one, rarely is another word you could probably use, rarely as well. Okay, so I have a driver's license, but I seldom drive to work. So 운전면허는 있지만 운전은 거의 안 한다. So you could always say as well, I have a driver's license, but I rarely use it. I'm going to put rarely in there. But I seldom drive to work. This is mainly used in the negative. So I could be... Okay, here's what I'll do. Seldom is used in the negative. Okay, so rarely would be better. Barely. Sometimes is used, let's say sometimes as the base, used in the positive. Alright. So every so often, from time to time. So it does not happen often. It is a little different from sometimes now I think of it. Sorry. Because I cannot say I have a driver's license, but I every so often drive to work. It's not wrong, it's just a little bit awkward. But I could say I have a driver's license and I sometimes drive to work. That's okay. Bill seldom gets angry, but when he does, watch out. Bill은 화를 거의 안 냈지만 화가 났을 때는 피하는 게 좋다. So, again, we're kind of using this in the negative sense. So he seldom gets angry. He rarely gets angry. He barely gets angry. So, yes, that's the difference. At the start, ignore that a little bit, but yes, now we've covered the fact that seldom can be used as situations that don't happen often, but usually in the negative. Alright, now let's look at the language focus quiz. 1번. Can help decrease the risk of losing. So remember, decrease the risk of. Remember, risk of plus 동명사는 원치 않은 일이 일어날 수 있는 상황. So, can decrease the risk of losing. Let's say washing your hair correctly can help decrease the risk of losing your hair. So, 머리를 올바르게 감는 것은 탈모 방지에 도움이 된다. 2번. Increases the risk of getting. Let's keep it easy. Smoking increases the risk of getting cancer. So, 흡연은 암 발생률을 증가시킨다. So, 담배를 피하지 마세요. 3번. But I seldom. So remember, seldom was something that does not happen often. We mainly use it in the negative. So but I seldom. I play sports, but I seldom go for a run. 저는 스포츠를 하지만 운동 삼아 다니는 것은 거의 안 합니다. 4번. Seldom, but when they do, watch out. They seldom fight, but when they do, watch out. 그들은 거의 안 싸우지만 싸웠을 때는 조심하는 게 좋다. Alright, now let's move on to the further discussion. 1번. Expanding on question 2, so you would have to read question 2, which was if you were going to live and work on trains like Lassie in your own country, which trains would you take? If you were going to do this in some other country, which country would you choose and why? So, 이번 질문이어서 라시처럼 기차 안에서 먹고 자고 일을 한다면 당신의 나라에서는 어떤 기차를 이용하시겠습니까? If you're going to do this 다른 나라에서 하신다면 어디서 할 거예요? Probably somewhere in Europe. I don't know which country in Europe, but I think since Europe has so many different countries, I think it would be a perfect place to live on a train because you'll be in like different countries every day, basically. Because as far as I know, you can get through one or two countries per day using a train, depending on how fast the train is, of course. But yeah, I don't know. Maybe I'd definitely say Europe though. As to which countries, I don't know. Maybe the Nordic countries like Iceland, Finland, Norway, etc. They would be beautiful to go through on train. But yeah, I'm not exactly sure. Ibon, what do you think of Lassie's plan to live on trains in other countries? What problems might he encounter outside Germany? I guess the main problems would be, sometimes he has to deal with grumpy people on trains. I don't know, I don't think I'd love to live on a train because I need my peace and quiet. And trains are obviously very noisy, a lot of people, you rarely get your own privacy. I think those are the problems that I would have a problem with. So those are probably similar. But he seems like a very outgoing person, whereas I'm a very big introvert. So it would suit him, but it definitely wouldn't suit me. Anyway, that wraps it up for today, and I'll see you on the next class.
Sleeper train.
Sleeper train.
Digital nomad.
Digital nomad.
Fully booked.
Fully booked.
On the downside.
On the downside.
Minimalistic.
Minimalistic.
All the more reason.
All the more reason.